Stop schlepping to the drugstore and paying $20 for shave tech you don't need. For a couple bucks a month, DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing quality razors right to your door. Shave time, shave money with Dollar Shave Club. Go to DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. That's DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. Makes it seem like we were
kind of like that, like mid-conversation.
Oh, hey!
Hi.
I didn't
Funny
see you.
meeting you here.
I didn't see you there.
Hi, Internet.
Welcome to the patch. This week.
Whoop.
Oh, thanks. You're on the ball. Gus.
Sometimes.
Ashley.
Ryan.
Gus.
I get to say me.
Yeah, I gave you permission this week.
Thank you.
So, a lot to talk about. We did our awards last week. People were upset that we didn't have you on to defend BioShock Infinite.
Well, I will say that it took a lot of that's you guys were all pretty down on it. I don't blame people for wanting to defend it a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's not a perfect game. Like a lot of the points that were made about what was, I guess, wrong with it, those were valid points. Mm-hmm. They just didn't stop me from thinking it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. No, it was a fun game.
I agree. No, I loved it. It was a great game.
For me, Game of the Year is that game that, like, months down the road, you think back to it and you go, oh, man, that was amazing.
There was one I thought about after the patch that I feel I regretted I didn't talk about, that I felt like I'd forgotten. I already forgot it again. I felt like it was
we didn't talk about Splinter Cell Blacklist.
It was a game that had come out like in January and I'd forgotten about.
Ni no Kuni?
God, no. Fuck
no.
No.
I will bet it was Ni no Kuni because that was a fantastic game.
Papers, Please. Papers, Please. Game of the Year. I'm telling you. Papers, Please. Okay. Bunch of stuff. I guess we should start going down the list here. So, Dead Rising 3 DLC is out now, correct?
Yes, it came out yesterday.
Yesterday? I have not played it yet. I think my Xbox is just finishing up my 13 gigabyte download.
Yeah, that's a really major download. But remember, the download actually wasn't part of the DLC. The download was a game update that everyone had to download.
So
yeah, across the board.
Since the game has come out, they've previously issued a 5 gigabyte update that people had to do in December, I think, and now a 13 gigabyte update that you have to do in case people have the DLC or in preparation for the DLC. Like, how long until you've downloaded more than actually came on the disc?
Welcome to the next generation, Gus.
Yeah, it's scary. So yeah, it's a 13 gigabyte patch on top of their previous 5 gigabyte patch. And now this new DLC came out, which focuses on single player.
And the DLC itself was like 20 megabytes because it was really just unlocking what came in the 13 gigabyte update.
And there's been a lot of speculation that there's subsequent DLCs in that 13 gigs.
Yeah, I've heard reports that supposedly chapters 3 and 4 of their DLC are also contained in that download.
Well, for 13 gigabytes, I mean, that is 2 DVDs worth of content that you downloaded in a patch.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if there's not something else on there somewhere.
Free puppies?
Hopefully puppies.
Digital
zombie
puppies?
No,
zombie
no
digital puppies. Digital zombie puppies.
Exclusive DLC. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try that. I haven't gone back and played Dead Rising 3 really since I finished it. So I'm curious to jump back into it. I don't think I've really played much of any on the PS4 or the Xbox One.
Whoa! Attacked by a microphone.
That's my mic. Oh, God.
So I played Dead Rising 3, Killzone Shadowfall, Power Star Golf,
and
Halo
played some of that.
Spartan Assault. And I think that's it.
I've played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 4. And I think I played Contrast on PS4.
Contrast was
I played
interesting
Contrast and Resogun as well. That's right.
Yeah.
And I've played Peggle 2.
Oh, yeah. Peggle never really grabbed me like it does other people.
It doesn't. I enjoy it as like a time waster, but it definitely hasn't got me the way you're right. The way it's got other people that are just like junkies for it.
Yeah.
I'll
play it a bit and I'll be like, all right, that was fun.
It was fun. It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's a great game. It just doesn't have me by the balls.
Yeah. Actually, 1,000 pointed Spartan Assault today. And finished Rise 1,000 points yesterday. That's the first 2,000 point games I've had in a long time.
Nice. I was Rise. I still haven't played Rise.
It is what people say about it, that it's fairly repetitive, kind of repetitive sort of button masher is true, but honestly, I found it pretty enjoyable. The multiplayer is fun. The 1,000 pointing it is not terrible. It's really pretty doable as far as achievements go. So I'd play it. It's worth picking up.
I'll borrow it from you.
I'm not sure the last game I 1,000 pointed. I mean, for a long time I've had that completionist thing, but I always define what I consider to be the completion.
Yeah.
And so there are very few games that I 1,000 point because I go, no.
Yeah.
That whatever that is, that does not count for me. That is not my meaning
just doesn't
complete.
take me either. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever 100%ed a game. Like the only times I'll 1,000 point a game is after there's a ton of DLC and getting 1,000 points is easy across like the main story and all the DLC.
Yeah.
Like Fallout New Vegas, I think I have 1,000 points simply because I played all the DLC and the core campaign, and you get 1,000 points.
Yeah, there are a lot of games that I'll have 600 or 700 points in, and then I look at the last 300 and I go, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go play something else now. Like I'm done. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see a better life on the other side of not playing that, then it's pretty easy to just walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. So in other news, Blizzard's Hearthstone.
Yes.
I always say it wrong. Hearthstone entered open beta.
Yes, it's funny. I was actually looking that up, and this is how like weird the intertwined the Blizzard stuff is. I was thinking Hearthstone, and into Google I typed Heroes of the Storm,
Yep.
which is the other one they just announced.
Right.
So, but yes, it's open enter beta in North America currently, I guess, and
Best
then
America.
it's Best America, and then it's rolling out to the rest of the world over the next couple of days, so everyone will have it.
So it's this collectible card game, which is actually really fun. I didn't think this kind of game would grab me, or I wouldn't be really interested in it. But they really stick to that Blizzard aesthetic. The sound is really fun. You know, there's a lot of personality behind the cards and the players. I think it's really, really polished. I guess at this point they're probably just working on balance and making sure that stuff works right.
That's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, they did clarify. They're like, this is not done. It's not a release. This isn't retail. It's a beta still, and we're going to be like monitoring it. But they also didn't sound too worried.
Yeah.
Are we to that point now where you have to explain further that beta that means it's really not done?
Have you ever read YouTube comments?
Yeah, it makes me sad. But
now you know why they have to explain that. Like there's just a certain type of person who goes, well, I can play it. That means that it should be perfect.
But the people that write those comments also aren't going to, even if you explain it, are not going to pick up on that.
You got to try.
You really don't. You can just leave them be.
But you might reach some of them. Some of them. They can get through this.
Do you think they can be reached?
Well, some of them, yes.
Okay.
Others are doomed, and they're going to be future world leaders. Oh my god.
So with this Hearthstone beta, Blizzard also rolled out their new desktop Battle.net app, which acts as a centralized launcher for all of the Blizzard titles.
Their own Steam.
Right. Well, yeah.
Sort of.
I guess, yeah. So it's like you can launch, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, whatever, when that eventually comes out, all from one central place, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, no.
And now I just have one icon on my desktop instead of a bunch.
Yeah, here's the thing though, is like even with Steam, like I could load Steam and then load whatever game I want out of Steam, but I would really just rather I'll just take it on the desktop. I'll have every game have its own shortcut. I'm fine with that. It saves me the additional step of going through something else to get to the game that I want to play.
But I like the clean desktop. Then you can have an awesome background picture and you can see all of it.
Well, I mean, is there really that many people? Like Steam is a front end for a bunch of games, and even then, it always offers you a direct shortcut. Is Blizzard really moving that many people with simultaneous game installs? I mean, I can see somebody maybe having Hearthstone and World of Warcraft, but
it might be handy to launch. That way, you can have other applications updating while running one. So it's like it's one app that checks everything and keeps it all up to date.
Wouldn't it still theoretically launch in the background?
But like, let's say the current way, you launch World of Warcraft, your StarCraft never gets updated until you launch it again. But this one, it's like one app and everything talks to Battle.net at the same time and does synchronization. I would think that's the advantage.
All right.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Plus, it's also like one central news. I don't know. They can get their news to you. They've always got like patch notes. And
I guess the news aggregation is nice, but I mean, news aggregation is a great idea.
And also, another Blizzard news, we're in the middle of the snowstorm here.
Look at you.
World of Warcraft started doing that thing I've been complaining about EverQuest 2, where now if you pre-purchase the next expansion, which does not even have a release date yet, you get a level 90 character in World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft is free to play now, isn't it?
No.
It's not?
There was some speculation that they would go that route, but they shot that down.
Yeah, they said they do not envision changing that model to free to play.
Okay. That's actually, I guess that's encouraging for the MMOs that are coming out this year. There's Elder Scrolls Online, and what's the other big one? WildStar that's announced.
WildStar.
Both of them are releasing with subscriptions, and everyone's going, well, why would you do that? Nobody does that now. But clearly World of Warcraft does. I've been careful to never play that game. I'm terrified. I would lose my life. The second someone showed me that you could ride a horse with like flaming hooves, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go away. I'm going to never think of this again.
And that horse with flaming hooves will only cost you about 7 months of your life.
Right,
Man,
exactly.
I played
small commitment.
for a while. My wife played a lot of World of Warcraft, which was great. She played a dwarf character, and she really wanted an Elk, like a giant elephant for her mount, but that's the racial mount for the Draenei. So it's like, in order for her to get that, she had to increase her reputation with that faction. So we had to do like all of their quests, go and like turn in cloth and wool to like a vendor who like exchanges, reputation points. We probably grinded for like 6 weeks to get that damn Elk. She finally got it. Then the day after she got it, she's like, all right, I'm done. That's all I really wanted to do. I was like, what the fuck? We spent 6 weeks working towards this.
It's the journey. It's not the destination. You just got to enjoy the path.
Screw that. It's the destination sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the desdestination.
It was funny seeing the little dwarf on top of the giant Elk. I will admit, it was worth it for the couple of screenshots.
It was worth, the screenshots were 6 weeks of work.
Yeah, it paid off in the end.
Good to know.
Ultimate first world problems.
Gus comes cheaply, guys.
Yeah,
all you have to do is send him some screenshots.
Turn in that cloth and that wool and that silk, and it'll all be worth it in the end. So, moving down the list. Alienware announced their Steam machines will be available in September, and it's not upgradable.
No, it's also not customizable. But that they will annualize it, and so they will be releasing new ones every year.
Oh, they think it's not customizable, do they?
Well, not easily customizable.
That does sound a little bit like a challenge
Doesn't
to
it?
really determined like PC people. It's
Except
like,
for
you
most
can't
of the
do this.
most of the determined PC people will look at that and go,
I've already got a PC.
"What? Why?" And that's this is kind of, unless their price point is really low.
Have they announced specs? They still haven't announced specs on that, have they?
No,
They're the only holdout.
Yeah, there might be one other one that hasn't finalized their specs, but yeah, other than that, Alienware is the only one being like, no, it's super secret. Just trust us, you'll want it.
And no price point yet either, right? Didn't they? Are they one of the ones that said?
I have not seen
sure
a price point.
I think they might have put down the price point, but no specs.
Okay, so we're aiming for this general range. You might want to buy it, but then next year you might get a better one.
Yes,
next year you will get a better one.
You'll upgrade your living room gaming PC every year.
Because
Doesn't that
people
sound
do
exciting?
that with consoles. I mean,
no, nobody does that.
They're completely off their rocker at this point, right? Like they're not aiming for the console market anymore because console markets don't upgrade like that, and they're not aiming for the PC market because PC markets are looking at going, why can't I just plug in something new?
They even say that if you want, and this is a quote. Who is this quote from? Blah blah blah. I guess I should preface this. It's Alienware's general manager Frank Azor. He said, if you actually want to customize your Alienware Steam machine, maybe change your graphics card or put in your CPU, you'd be better off with a standard Alienware X51. This particular product is restricted in its upgrade options. So they even say, like, if you want to upgrade it, buy the normal computer.
All right, the only way I can see out of this mess for them is if this box is really aggressively priced. I mean, if they're locking the hardware choices in and having this map specifically because they're going to be able to really bring the cost of the unit down, then maybe that's a viable product.
It's like if it's a standardized thing where it's like they just solder everything onto the motherboard. It's like you were just going to make, 1 million of these particular boards and they can fucking drive that price down like crazy.
Right. Yeah. Maybe then you could get it to compete with the other ones. Otherwise, it's like, what's your selling point?
That's an interesting idea.
I can't think of any other useful way to market that.
Okay, so this is what they've said. They just say that the price will be competitive with next generation consoles. So
it'll be $400
or
$500.
Yeah, like in the 500 range somewhere.
Nah, yeah.
I'm curious. I'm still curious. I'm a sucker. I'm gonna try it. I guarantee you, I'm gonna get one.
You're gonna get one of the Alienware ones?
Oh, I'm gonna get a Steam machine. I don't know if it's the Alienware one. The box looks cool.
The box
it does look
cool.
nice.
Yeah. So maybe not.
Some of the Steam machines look like not remotely like computers. They look like routers, or they look like desktop speakers or something. But just the number of different form factors that people are coming out with is mind-boggling.
I think they want to make something that looks like it belongs in like a home theater setup. It like makes sense next to your receiver.
They are all over the map with that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things coming out of left field.
Their definition of what fits into your home theater. There's a lot of variation there.
It's like they watch one of those 60s future movie and they're like, yeah, it's neon and all rounded edges. We'll see. It's interesting, though. I mean, we talk about how this whole rollout has gone, and it's not really without precedent. I mean, essentially, Google did the same thing with Android, where they just created an operating system and loosed it on the world of third-party manufacturers, and you got a bunch of really crazy phones, which even Google eventually then went on to make a first-party device to kind of sort of make a standard. So it'll be interesting to see if Valve eventually gets sucked into that too.
Yeah, well, and I mean, extending that as well. One of the problems with Android phones, I don't know if that's still a problem, but one of the problems for a long time was it was just so fractured. Like
Still a problem, yeah.
The updates were dependent on the service provider and this and that. So you have some people that are on 2-year-old versions of the operating system. They can't run this app and this app and this app. It's kind of a mess. Like there's a lot of opportunity there, but not everyone gets it. There's a lot of people that are hamstrung.
Well, I feel like that's definitely, and that is a problem with the Android platform. I feel like Valve is kind of trying to address that by setting the different tiers of qualities of Steam machines and being like, this is where you should be, and
Well, did they though? I mean, we heard about that as an idea, but I haven't seen anything that indicated that they've actually stuck to that.
No, I think what they were doing is that when you are on SteamOS and you're looking at potential games to play, it'll tell you what the machine you're on can and can't play.
Okay, so it's like the Windows experience rating, basically, where it'll take a look at your hardware and say...
Where it's like, we don't think you can handle this.
I always had a problem with the Windows experience rating because it basically rates you at the lowest score you have.
Which nowadays is pretty much always going to be your hard drive unless you're running an SSD RAID or something.
Right. So it's like you can have an awesome everything. Maybe your hard drive's a little slow. It's like, oh, your experience is a 4.
Welcome to the 5.9 club.
Yeah, I'm a proud member of the 5.9 club. Thanks, hard drive. Okay. Other news. Candy Crush developers filing for a trademark for the words Candy and Saga.
Yes. I mean, Saga... apparently, I guess they initially filed the trademark for Saga in 2011.
Uh-huh.
And it's currently suspended, as of December, but they're still going after the Banner Saga guys.
Mm-hmm. Seriously?
And they filed an opposition with the Patent and Trademark Office, saying that there is reason to think that consumers would be confused. They would confuse the Banner Saga with King's lineup of Saga games, such as Candy Crush Saga, and I think there was some Witch Puzzle Saga and some.
To be fair, those are two very similar games.
For people who aren't familiar, the Banner Saga is like a Viking-inspired game with giants with huge horns.
It's a bunch of people who have never seen candy.
And
there is no candy in their life, only swords.
And it's like a super animated, tactical, turn-based RPG, really cool.
It's on my list of stuff to talk about. I've actually been playing this game. They released the multiplayer component last year as like a Kickstarter reward. They call it the Banner Saga Factions. Mm-hmm. And this the single player finally launched earlier this month.
Well, part of the single player. This is the first of 3 planned chapters in the single player.
It's a fucking beautiful game. It all looks like it's hand animated. It makes me think of old cartoons like The Secret of Nim, like that kind of style. But I like turn-based tactical games like that.
Oh yeah, it's very much a throwback to Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah,
like those kinds of games, which I'm terrible at and I really love.
And that game was actually developed. Banner Saga was developed by a local studio, Stoic, a bunch of ex-BioWare
guys, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, which by the way I think is really cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun. I think I read a Polygon review of it today, and I think Polygon gave it an 8 out of 10.
Not bad.
I want to say so. It's
pretty solid.
Fun. Yeah, I haven't finished it. I'm only 3 hours into it, I think.
Yeah,
so I'm getting there.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. Actually, I'm not sure if I feel bad for them because I don't think the opposition will stick, because anyone who sees that game in the context of its actual key art or anything, no one's going to confuse that with Candy Crush.
I guarantee you, not a single person who will play the Banner Saga will ever play a Candy Crush game. Do you play Candy Crush?
No, I don't. I missed the boat on that one, but I actually know a lot of people who do. That's very surprising. Yeah, I love Bejeweled.
Isn't that the fucked up thing? These guys stole the idea for their video game from Bejeweled, and now they're going after anyone who uses the word candy or Saga.
Which Saga has been used in games for years, decades. Since there have been games called Saga something.
Or
Saga of something.
Candyland.
Or
There's a
Candyland.
fucking board game that's been
Yeah.
around forever.
Yeah, the really scary thing about them trying to trademark the word candy is that, so at least for the Saga trademark, it's restricted to video game software. They're just trying to make sure that no one else can use the word Saga in a video game unless they give them permission, which also isn't actually possible. But with candy, they're like the list of goods and services. Let me see if I can pull this up and just like read some of it. But it covers baby monitors. It covers clothing like aprons.
Baby monitors.
It covers game software. It covers like televised appearances by celebrities. Literally, it reads like they just went down the list of everything they could possibly trademark, and they just checked all the boxes.
So like
Nice.
next Halloween is going to be brought to you by Candy Crush.
TM.
You have to have a Candy Crush labeled candy dish to hand out at Halloween.
I mean,
And heaven forbid you crush it.
Ooh, no.
No.
and I guess the trademark hasn't actually gone through yet. It's been approved, which God only knows who would say, yeah, that sounds like a good trademark. We'll just go ahead and approve that shit. I mean, that's a whole other problem. But so it's been approved for publication, but companies have 30 days to file oppositions, which is basically what they did to Banner Saga, is to say, no, that's not, like, that would be confused with our product that existed way before, and so on and so forth. So I don't think it'll stick. I hope it won't stick. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. The fucking patent and trademark procedure in the U.S. is so
It's so broken.
and
Well, it's
fucked
not
up.
impossible to actually get a trademark these days anyway, right?
takes
Even
forever.
if it's pretty unique name.
When we got the trademark for Rooster Teeth, which is a unique name, it took years. It's a long, drawn-out process, and it's a pain in the ass. It's a real pain in the ass. Here, let me read this thing here. Want to remind everyone that this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Stop schlepping to the drugstore and paying $20 for shave tech you don't need. For a couple bucks a month, DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing quality razors right to your door. Shave time, shave money with Dollar Shave Club. We love them, you will too. Go to DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. That's DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. So when you sign up, you get free handle. You can't shave without a handle. You can choose your types of razors. This one says burn the dance floor, not your face. Razors.
Good advice.
And you can buy some shave butter to use in place of shaving cream. Very handy.
So it's like, does it lather? What I mean,
It
do
doesn't.
strange people come and try and wipe your face on toast?
You after you get out of the shower, you can just rub bread on your face and eat it. You can't do that. Absolutely not. Please don't do that.
No.
It's what I use, and it keeps the 5 o'clock shadow at bay.
But it's all great. Go to DollarShaveClub.com/rooster to try it out. It's actually really handy. I like not having to go to the store. Anything I can do to avoid interacting with other people is awesome for me.
So Amazon Drone is like your win scenario.
We were looking at the new studio earlier today, and I said we need to designate a spot for the Amazon drones to be able to land to give our packages. And everyone laughed, and I was like, no, we should have like a pad, right, for drones to land.
Can we set up turrets around it to protect it from other drones, like competing services?
That'd be awesome.
Do you think we could give it like a rooftop landing pad, like a helicopter pad, but
See,
smaller?
that's what other people said. But I said, how are we going to get our packages if it's up on the roof?
It can drop it into a bucket, which
Well, we fly
then
up there
lower
with
down.
an actual helicopter. You have a big helipad next to a little helipad.
I feel like I'm being mocked.
No, Gus, we wouldn't mock you.
So I also read, you were talking about like different form factors for Steam machines, that Microsoft explored 75 different options for the look of the Xbox One. They went through 100 different iterations before they settled on the final one for the Kinect. And they went through 200 different options before they settled on the controller.
I gotta be honest, like, what were the other 74 if this is what they ended up with? Like, don't get me wrong, I do kind of like the like part matte, part gloss, but it's a box.
Well, for me,
I mean, like,
I wondered that for the Kinect. Because that's even more boxy. That's literally just a rectangle. It's like, camera there, done. You know?
yeah, they just, what were they?
Maybe it's like different materials or, different, maybe the vents on this side, the vents on that side.
Yeah.
Hey, it's simple, it's clean.
Slot loading, not
Look-
slot loading.
yeah, at the end of
disk
the day,
drive,
they were
no
like-
disk drive.
So you like cubes? I like cubes. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you got to go through iteration. You got to figure out all the little mundane things.
I bet this is how I think the conversation actually went down. So it cost us 25 cents less per unit to make it a box. All right, box it is.
Yeah.
Probably.
You could have this really cool rounded thing from the future or the box, which is 25 cents cheaper.
I mean, I
box.
guess they have been going back towards the boxy form factor since the 360 Slim, the first 360 Slim. But still, I mean, it's not the most creative design. It's efficient, but like I wouldn't list its attributes as creative.
You know what it is? It's super not scratch resistant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that glossy
scratching yours all
part
up?
is extremely scratchable. Not even a little remote attempt to make it non-scratchable.
And you should stop hitting people with it.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well-
I never have to touch mine.
Yeah,
I
like
mean-
you don't even you don't touch anymore. You just say Xbox on.
Well, I mean, there for a while I was transporting it to my house, so I could continue my research at home before I got my own. And so I would put it in a bag, a nice gym bag, and put a shirt on top of it.
Nice gym bag.
Nice.
You know what
Nice.
I miss
What?
about old consoles? Remember the GameCube had a handle?
Yeah.
Dude, I loved that handle. I was just so excited for it. I was carrying.
Well,
I
it
would-
made sense. It looked like a purse. So
I would carry it around, and I was so excited that I had a handle. I would take it with me places just because I could.
Or you could use it like a mace if you needed to, self-defense.
It would be funny to see it pop up in future games as like some sort of just like a like
weapon.
to hand weapon. You grab it and you just bash people over the head with it. Way better than a frying pan.
Take the GameCube to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being in a Dead Rising game.
Yeah.
In fact, there were game consoles in Dead Rising 3
yeah.
that you
Well,
could mod. But
The original Xbox would have been the best weapon in the game. You remember that was bulletproof.
it was? That was actually tested?
Well, sort of. There were people there. Like there was a Xbox that got shot. I think in the course of like a home robbery. And the Xbox was fine. Played no problems whatsoever. There were a couple.
Sometimes the
occasions
power
where that
cord would
happened.
catch fire, but yeah, whatever.
What I'm hearing
Yeah, but
here
no one cares
is-
about the power cord. We're talking about hitting zombies with an Xbox.
What I'm hearing here is that we need to have our first patch field trip to a shooting range with an Xbox, and we'll see what kind of bullets it can
We should take Gavin and film it in slow-mo as well.
Yeah.
They
think it's
call
a great
that,
idea.
in the business world, they call that synergy.
Synergy.
Is there a shooting range out
You
there
and
who'd
me.
like to, hook us
We
up
got
with that?
this.
We're on the same page. So, hold on. I'm looking to see here what people are saying on Twitter. I lost Twitter.
Bye, Twitter.
Oh, wait, there it is.
Twitch you later.
Sorola's right, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, I guess people were saying that they've seen some of the other prototypes. Who is this? Elanium said that there were small differences like the lens on the other side and things like that. So I could see that iteration taking a long time.
They put the lens for the camera on the back.
No, on the right side instead of the left, not on the back. I'm always happy when I walk in, like when I get home. Sometimes my wife's watching TV, and I'll walk in and the Xbox pops up. Hi, Gus. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Hi, Xbox.
It's like
Yeah,
Cheers.
I get that a lot. Like I'll come in the front door, Bernie's playing Dead Rising, whatever, and it just goes, "Hello, Ashley," and I go, "Hey, Xbox." It's just nice that it noticed.
Yeah, but that's still crazy to me.
Thankfully, it still doesn't recognize my son as a person yet. That's going to be a bad day.
It doesn't recognize our boys either. Like it can't hear them. We think it's because their voices are too high pitched. Like if they shout really, really, really loudly, then it can understand. But it doesn't just understand them normally,
Which is funny because I have
which
to actually
infuriates them.
I have to raise the pitch of my voice to. We heard something weird out there. I have to raise the
don't know
pitch
what
of
that
my
was.
voice to make it pay attention to
Wolves.
me. Like if I talk like this, it will ignore me. I have to go, Xbox, turn on. Then it's like, oh, there's someone here.
Oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Hey. So I'm sure everyone's heard about that little bit of a scandal that went on between Microsoft and Machinima,
A little bit of a scandal.
where people were being offered premium ad money to say positive things about the Xbox One.
Well, positive or neutral, honestly, they basically just couldn't say anything that was negative. But I think the kicker wasn't that they were doing that, because that's actually not that out of left field.
And I think that was their
that they
official
would do
statement, is that
endorsements.
this isn't that uncommon.
No, what was uncommon was the clause of confidentiality that forbade the participants from letting anyone know about the promotion agreement.
I think what I read, let me see if I can pull it up here. What I read was that there was a misunderstanding on that, and that there was no confidentiality about that. There was confidentiality about.
I read the terms.
Okay.
It sounded an awful lot like, don't fucking tell anybody about this.
Why do people even try that anymore? I mean, you say don't tell anyone about this. 5 seconds later, people have talked about it.
So
I
it
mean,
says-
Well, and
It says
I
the
guess
confidentiality relates to the agreements themselves, not the existence of the promotion.
that's the clarification the next day, because they're in such hot water.
I see.
But like reading the terms, like to someone who's not a lawyer, which is most of us, it sounds an awful lot like don't tell anyone.
like Fight Club.
Yeah, keep your mouth shut about the promotion. Just say the nice things, but don't say like
Shut up and take your
don't say
check.
why.
I've got a promotion I can tell you about.
Oh,
DollarShaveClub.com/Rooster.
But do we get $3 per million or 1,000 views for that?
I'll have to contact our sources and find out. I guess in other news, there was rumor that the Halo movie was in the works again. I don't know if you read that.
It was one of those rumors that was it was almost debunked before it became a thing.
Right. It was like a tweet that's subsequently been deleted saying that there's a Halo project being produced by Ridley Scott.
Well, maybe he's working on the TV show. Who knows? I mean,
they've
are
already
working on the Halo
attached
TV show.
Steven Spielberg to that.
Yeah, they might do some guest somethings. You know how there's a lot of TV shows that have like guest writers and guest directors for various episodes. Who knows? It could be something as easy as that. But
Yeah.
I honestly heard about the denial before I heard about the deleted tweet.
Which one? Me too.
Yeah.
But I learned about the deleted rumor through the
I
denial.
wonder if this is some reverse way to start a rumor. Like they've gone backwards and like, oh, we'll just say that there was a rumor and we'll quash it, creating the rumor.
Well, maybe you're onto something, because normally when there's a rumor, isn't there stance we don't comment on rumors?
Yeah,
Yeah?
it's we do not comment on rumors or speculation. That's like the boilerplate legal for everything in the industry.
Yeah, so maybe this is it. Like they put out the
Suspicious.
rumor, debunk it. That way they don't have to say we don't comment on rumors before the people hear about it.
Right? Yeah.
Clever.
We're
onto
through
you.
the looking glass. This is some conspiracy theory shit here.
Now you lost me.
So I read another article today or the other day that actually made me really sad. Apparently, the Tomb Raider game that came out last year barely broke even by the end of the year.
That's astounding
I guess
to me.
They had disappointing sales.
They remember like after it came out, it sold like 4 million units, and after that announcement, which everyone was like, "Whoa, 4 million units, that's amazing." Square Enix was like, "Yeah, what a disappointment, right? That's way below our expectations." I don't know what they would have expected a Tomb Raider title to do. 4 million units is a lot. Like that's an incredibly successful game from a unit standpoint.
But it's
How did it
that's
cost
across
that
all
much?
platforms. You know, maybe they were expecting more. I mean, when you're putting a game out on every platform, you would expect to sell more than 4 million, especially
yes
what's
and
considered
no.
to be a giant franchise. I think people have been burned by Tomb Raiders in the past, and they were burned out on the series. Like I know I wasn't excited about it. I picked it up anyway. It was a fucking fantastic game.
It's been floundering for years, though. I don't know why they would all of a sudden think that it would just shoot up now that they did a reboot. I mean, it did
there was
really
a lot of
well.
hype around
it. was
it.
a great game.
Yeah.
Obviously, and that's funny because they talk about that like, oh, we're so disappointed, but they made the HD remake of it for the one. So.
Yeah, well, they did end up. I guess it did end up breaking even, which is good. But you're right; they would have started working on the HD next gen remastered whatever version long before then.
This might be a way also to recoup those costs. Like it may not cost a whole hell of a lot
to just up-res.
up-res it, and re-render all of that stuff. So it might be a way where it's like we can just invest a little more money and then see a significant return.
Well, I'm actually curious how much of the assets that went into that are actually just PC assets that they had that they were able to then bring into the Xbox or
that's
the console
interesting.
world.
Tress effects.
Yes.
The hair is much nicer now in the new Tomb Raider one that's coming out for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is Tress effects in it.
It does have Tress effects. No, it does. It really does.
It does? Okay.
Yeah. They were saying that
thought-
the last gen versions don't, the PC version does, and then the next gen versions
Wasn't Tress
will have
effects a
Tress
proprietary NVIDIA thing though? Like you couldn't do it with an
Sure.
AMD card
thought
on a
so,
PC?
too.
Like do both the PS4 and the Xbox One have NVIDIA GPUs?
No.
Yeah,
I-
I didn't think
Consoles
so.
are all AMD.
That's what I thought.
I don't know. All I know is that the strands will individually interact with the environment. I mean, come on, man.
Well, it
Yeah.
does look like that then. It must have Tress effects or some version of it that's exclusive to the console.
Or maybe they've just reworked it.
Maybe. But anyway, if you haven't played it, you're looking for a game. I'm sure it's on sale now. It's probably a $30 game or something.
If
Not
not now,
next
soon.
gen
I
yet,
think
though.
it's
Yeah,
27th.
yeah,
I want to say.
yeah. I mean, you should definitely pick it up. It was a really, really fun game. I really enjoyed that. It was on our list that we talked about for Game of the Year.
And it was honestly, again, everything on that list was a good contender. That was a really fun game. And it never had one of those mechanics where you felt like you were bored of doing it.
Yeah.
It did have one of those stupid achievements that's like, hey, make sure you talk to everybody and get every single piece of dialogue.
Oh, that was annoying. I mean, I enjoyed that game so much that even when I was done, I went back and started trying to get all the collectibles. I never do that. And then, like, in the second zone, I was like, no, wait, what the fuck am I doing? And I stopped.
I'm still kind of waiting. I think I want to play it on next gen. I can play it on PC right now if I want, but I'm like, it's the kind of game that I would normally choose to play with a controller. And I could hook up a controller to the PC, but then I'd have to go get one, and that's work, or I could just wait a little bit longer, have it on next gen, get my, achievements. I don't know if I should wait or if I should just play it on 360.
So yeah, January
picking
28th
up on the one
is when it comes out. That's next week.
Ooh.
So yeah, just wait 6
Oh,
more
it's off
days.
by a day.
I don't have very long to wait. Great.
No.
For some reason, I had in my head that it was going to be like March.
No, it's almost done.
That's
March
the,
is when all the other new games are coming out.
Good job, Crystal Dynamics.
Fable is also releasing their remastered Fable 1 for the 360 in early February.
Isn't
Yes,
it a combo?
They're
Or-
releasing it
Yeah, they're
with
also
the
going to have a
trilogy,
combo. Yeah.
which is funny because like I own Fable 2 and Fable 3, and they were very quick to clarify that doesn't mean you get a discount. If you buy the trilogy, you buy in all 3 again.
That's not unusual.
But I think it's going to be available separately as well. I know I never played Fable 1. Interestingly enough, the reason I didn't play it, even though I was very interested in it, was because it was like you can do all that, you can get married and you can have kids and all this, and it was like, but you can't be a girl. And I was like,
that's
I was like, well, in that case, like I'm out. Like
I'm out.
all that sounds interesting, but like I have no interest in like getting married to a chick and like boning her and having kids. Like
That wasn't part of 1, though, was it? I think you could get married, but there's no kids or anything.
I thought
There was a lot of
I never
wooing.
played 1.
Yeah.
But I do know that this new one includes the Lost Chapters, which was never available on the Xbox 360, even when they did the Xbox Originals release of the original Fable there, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
they've
get-
done a really
again, didn't play it, so I'm a little bit fuzzy on the
they've
details.
done a great job of muddling the water around that. Yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea anymore.
It's such a big. It always has been a big, ambitious project, so it's always hard to clarify it, and then to remember things like, oh, well, how was that? Like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, like trying to remember the specifics about it. It's tough.
Plus, you got to remember the difference between what they said they were going to do and then the game they actually delivered, because they were talking about things like big legacies and families and 2.
Well, they
and that
Molyneuxed it.
barely happened.
Yeah, but I mean, anyone who is getting excited for a Molyneux game and isn't trying to like figure out in there like the core of actual possible reality versus the grandiose vision. Anyone who's played a Molyneux game before and just takes all that in without qualifying it, well, they're asking for a bit of a
Sift
letdown.
the truth from the lies.
Molyneux's a great visionary. He's limited. He is very, very much limited by technical reality.
He's from the future.
He's from the
having to
future.
deal with our primitive technology and our sticks and our stones here. So going down the list, another bit of bad news.
Lots of
Nintendo did not sell as many Wii U's as they expected.
Shocking.
And
To put it mildly.
That's putting it extremely mildly. They slashed their forecast by 60 or 70%, I think.
Yes, 69%.
I think it was 69%,
something like that. It was
but I
like
don't want
if
to
we
say
want to get
69 because I don't want everyone to laugh. 69.
Does that really count? I mean, it was like, oh, we didn't sell them. Yeah, we didn't think we'd sell 70% of those.
Yeah, what was it? It went,
Forecast.
they
slashed.
were initially expecting to ship 9 million units, and they slashed it to 2.8 million. So that's rough. And I think also it's not readily available here, but I want to say they also expected to do 36 million software titles sales, and they only did 18 million.
That makes me really curious with the Wii, how software sales really did. I mean, DS obviously has always been pretty strong, but everybody bought a Wii, and then a lot of people really didn't do much with it. So it's kind of surprising to me that they couldn't see from the sales number on software that the successive system would probably not do great. I mean, it didn't bring with it anything new, really.
Well, Nintendo's always been a little bit unusual in that they do tend to make a profit on their hardware from very
Right,
early
that's true.
on in its life cycle, if not right from the beginning. Whereas a lot of the others, they barely break even, or they take a loss for a while, and they just count on game software sales to make up for it. Whereas Nintendo, knowing that they're a much more they're geared towards a family casual audience, they don't buy as many games, so they're not counting on as high of an attach rate to be successful. Wow, I cannot talk today.
No, you got it out.
My words are all coming out in
It
the
landed.
wrong order.
And yeah, I guess, I mean, I can see that point. Also, they never drop the prices on their games ever. I mean, you can pretty much buy Zelda today for what it was on drop day. Maybe it's going down $10.
Yeah, but
like
they also
Twilight
have
Princess.
but they also have a notoriously long tail.
They do.
So
Well, I
they
take
don't
it
really
back.
have
Twilight
to.
Princess is now on like $20 special or whatever. But yeah, it's. I mean, they make some post money on games, but their hardware. It's like they didn't even try and play. It's like they gave up. Like, oh, our big thing is we're going to have the tablet, but we're going to have a system that. And this is something I'm also curious about. If they deliberately shoot for low end of the hardware so that their game development is cheaper. Because if you're not developing all this high-end next-gen assets, you don't need as much time. It doesn't take as much effort to build the assets as it does for next-gen. I keep saying next-gen because I still don't consider the Wii U next-gen. Well, I mean, if you're calling next-gen, current-level PC state hardware, then the Wii and the Wii U have never been playing in that league. Mm-hmm. And then they obviously aren't even trying to.
Right. Yeah, they've always been. And I think they've even publicly stated that's their position, that they're separate. They're not competing for that market. So we'll see.
They're not playing our game.
They're
not playing any games. That's a
and
problem.
going home. Oh, yeah, that too. So I guess the, what's it called? The DICE Award nominations came out, and Last of Us is leading the pack.
So you guys must feel very vindicated for your choice in Game of the Year.
Their Game of the Year nominees are Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5, BioShock Infinite,
yes,
Assassin's Creed 4,
it's on there.
Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
Also on there.
I am glad to see a handheld title up there with the rest of them.
So, and then in the category of Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, GTA 5, Last of Us, Papers, Please, Tearaway, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons are all nominated.
Oh, come on!
There.
You're just finding reasons to get insert Papers, Please into the conversation.
Shut up, you.
Now.
I'm happy to see Papers, Please on that list. It's a fantastic game, despite the fact what other people may say. I think we have I believe we have a Dead Rising 3 DLC expert who wants to chat.
We do indeed.
So we can get him ready to talk about that a little bit, since I have not had a chance to check it out yet.
Nor have I. You can tell us if the new outfit was worth the 13 gigabytes.
There's a new outfit?
Oh, yeah.
What is it? Do you know? I guess we'll find out.
Ask the expert.
What's the deal with this new Dead Rising 3 DLC?
That's when the camera goes.
Well, it just came out. It was the one that was delayed for... Am I on?
Yeah.
All right, good. It was the one that was delayed for a month. It was supposed to come out right before Christmas, right, Ashley? And then they pushed it to January 21st. And so it's the first DLC. It's the first round of the season pass. This one takes the way they're approaching DLC for Dead Rising 3 is that it's 4 lost episodes of other survivors that were in Los Perdidos, I guess is how you say it. And the first one is a military guy. It's if you've played the game, in the northwest part of the map, there's a crashed helicopter, and it's how that crashed helicopter. It's actually pretty cool because you learn how certain things kind of came about that as the main character in Dead Rising 3 you had to encounter, and you learn how they got that way in some particular cases, and then it carries the story through.
Okay.
But it's I think it's got like 5 new weapons. It's got a new outfit.
What's the outfit?
New outfit.
What's that?
What's the outfit?
You know what? I actually haven't seen the outfit. I'm assuming it's Commander Kane's outfit that you get, like the actual military outfit. That would be an intelligent guess.
Is the gameplay, in line with the rest of Dead Rising 3?
It very much is. Like, actually, I blazed through it really quickly. I like the game a lot. I don't know that the average person playing it would get a lot out of it because it's super short. A lot of people online are complaining that there's no boss fight in it. It's just, you basically just run a mission, a couple, like 4 or 5 missions, and then you're done with the thing. To put in perspective for people who've played Dead Rising 3, in order to 100% all the zombies that you need to kill for all the achievements, you need to kill something like 350,000 zombies, 330,000. And I was like at 220 and said, I'm just not going to grind this out. I'm going to wait and go through all the DLC. I did the entire DLC last night, killing all the zombies I could. And I added like 5,000 zombies total across all the missions. So it's really short. And I played the whole DLC as soon as it came out. I went home and downloaded it.
So here's the question. Did it take longer to download the 13 gigabyte update or to complete the DLC?
Well, actually, the way it worked was the 13 gigabyte download, I never even saw that. I had the low power thing going on. And so for the first time, I got to see how I played on Xbox. It's an Xbox One exclusive, so obviously I played there. I got to see the 13 gig download just happen transparently in the background for me. And when I went to download the DLC, it was only a 20 meg download. And I hadn't yet seen the Mega 64 video or read that there was a 13 gig patch to the game. So I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. They delayed a DLC for a month and it's only a 20 meg download. It was clearly unlocking like what they downloaded from that 13 gigs.
Interesting. Cool. All good information. Thank you for.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. I also want to say one thing. You guys were talking earlier about Ridley Scott and a potential Halo thing. That might be a holdover from Ridley Scott had a deal where he was going to produce a bunch of sci-fi content for Machinima, and that deal completely fell apart at the end of 2013. Like they had the done deal, and they all just pulled out of it. They cited Ridley Scott's availability, and Machinima was the group that distributed it Forward Unto Dawn, so maybe it was something from that.
Okay,
possibly.
That makes sense.
Also, the internet would like you all to know that TressFX is AMD. It's not NVIDIA.
Thank you,
NVIDIA
internet
cards
representative.
That sounds wrong.
I don't know. I'm going to
I doubt you,
verify
internet.
that.
No, he's right.
He's
The
probably
entire
right.
internet did say that.
That would make more sense to make it go onto the consoles.
They did.
It's just AMD never has that kind of proprietary stuff. It's always NVIDIA that seems to have the better lock-ins with the physics type stuff.
While we're still on the subject of Dead Rising,
So
Nope, it's gone,
TressFX,
sorry.
TressFX was patched to work on NVIDIA cards. It was an AMD
All right.
exclusive.
Hey, there you go.
there you go. Thank you, internet. You've been right about
Crowdsourced
something.
You all were
information.
correct.
No, on the subject of Dead Rising, one particularly amazing accomplishment for it, I think, is that it's passed 1 million units sold. Now, as an exclusive for a console that's only sold 3 million units, that means that 1 in 3 people's purchased it. That's a
I
pretty
will
impressive
also
stat.
say, though, that was shipments to retailers.
Is it was shipments?
Yeah, that was not passed through to consumer.
Okay.
Well,
That's less exciting then. I was really proud of it for a minute there, but
It's still a good start.
It is pretty much the number one exclusive at this point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot to choose from.
Well,
We're still in that dead zone of no exclusive titles.
Okay.
Dude,
So
Tycoon bitches.
Is that exclusive though?
No.
they had shipped to retailers 1 million units by December 20th, 2013. It doesn't translate into sales to consumers. Blah, blah, blah.
There's like
But yeah.
one store somewhere that's just hoarding 100,000 units. They'll come for them someday.
They had a target set of 1.2 million shipped by the end of March 2014. So it looks like they're on track to hit that.
Are they though? They
Yeah,
just start
well, they
putting them in
only-
the mail. Like, can you make a goal of putting things in the mail? That's not sold.
Just shipped.
It's shipped. So I also read that the HBO Go app is finally going to be coming to PS3 and PS4 soon, and Xbox One soon as well.
Which is going to be particularly handy when Game of Thrones returns on April 6th.
Yeah, I think that's got to be their target, right? That's got to be like their internal milestone. Like we have to have this ready when Game of Thrones comes out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what else does HBO Go have? Like I don't watch a lot of TV, the televisions.
As the kids are calling them
Game
these
of
days.
Thrones is the only one that
Well,
I can
they
think
also
of.
have all the movies that HBO's playing right now. You can watch, so like on demand. So if there's like, I don't know, Oblivion is on there right now. You can watch Oblivion on demand.
Okay.
People like True Detective. I haven't seen the pilot yet or the first episode, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. If you ever want to go back and watch an episode of The Sopranos, all The Sopranos is on there.
You know what I have been watching that surprises me is I've been watching Almost Human.
That's a good show.
Because I like the guy that was Dredd, and
Wait.
I also like the robot guy who's super cute with his green eyes.
Oh, that Almost Human. Okay. I'm
What are you
thinking of
talking
Being
about?
Human. My bad.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about Almost Human.
Yeah, no, it's enjoyable. It handles the whole like human versus robot, emotion versus logic thing, pretty deftly in terms of it's not overhand. It doesn't focus all of the every episode on what it means to be human. A lot of times they're just exploring where technology might go. Very, very cool. I actually see a lot of I get the feeling that they take a lot of their inspiration from sci-fi games.
Okay. Does he fall in love with the robot? Because then, if it's like her, I'm out.
I am not programmed to love.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to check that out. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Other news: Loadout finally has a launch date. They're officially
Hey,
open-
congratulations,
That's really exciting.
Loadout.
opening the doors
Congratulations.
January 31st.
We've done 2 Let's Plays in that. It's actually a really enjoyable game.
It's really fun. Lots of customization with the website. I think I read in the press release that, the big thing's weapons customization, obviously, that there are over 44 billion different possible combinations in weapons.
That's a lot of combinations.
Yeah.
I was thinking that I liked the graphic style, but now I'm interested in the weapons.
And just making guns
Pretty much.
nonstop.
Like,
Yeah.
just see what's the craziest weapon you could possibly make.
I wonder if there's going to be a job for just being a gunsmith. I don't think you could trade weapons in that game, or at least none that I'm aware of, but maybe you can have schematics that you put online for
Yeah.
how you built your best gun.
Well, would you want to share that information? You don't want to give other people your good gun. You want to keep that for yourself.
No, but if they did implement some sort of in-game trading system or store system like what Valve has been doing with their Dota 2 stuff and their Team Fortress 2 stuff, where people can make new weapons or new items and then sell them.
Hats.
So I actually, that was on my list of stuff to talk about today. Valve announced that in 2013, they paid out $10.2 million to Dota 2 and Team Fortress 2 item creators.
Yeah, and it was something like 660 creators. It averaged out to $15.4 thousand per creator. Now, obviously, that average isn't going to hold true. There's going to be a lot of people that made virtually nothing, but that also means that there are a couple of people who made a really, really good living selling items,
Hats.
selling hats, selling effects, selling just like this crazy stuff that they made.
What I'm kind of
they
curious about
modeled.
on the back end of that is, okay, so they gave out $10.2 million. How much did Valve keep off those sales?
Yeah, they don't disclose what the revenue sharing is, but I mean, let's just say that it's Apple Store levels where they take 30%. I think somewhere before someone was telling us in a previous version of the patch that that Valve takes 25% of Steam game purchases. So if that's true, then it still means that they made
A couple $1 million and thereabout.
Yeah, I was gonna say $2.25 million, but I don't think that actually works
Let's say a couple.
in math.
Yeah.
But they made some millions.
Nice round couple.
They made some millions.
A plurality of million.
So in other news, I guess the December NPD numbers came out, and we're getting into that point where everyone's like spinning the numbers the way that sounds best for them. So Xbox One led the month in the United States, and the PS4 is the cumulative leader overall.
Yes. I think Sony actually, like, the statement that they came out with was like, what do you want from us? We were sold out most of the month. Like that's kind of like the voice that I read it in. I do know that they focused most of their units on Europe.
Yeah, it was Sony,
where they've traditionally been a leader anyway.
Senior Director of Corporate Communications, Dan Race, who wrote, "We sold every PS4 available at retail in the US, and we were out of stock in December due to overwhelming consumer demand."
Yeah.
That's probably the line you were thinking of.
Yeah, pretty much. It just reads like, doesn't matter. We were awesome.
Yeah, so
Which, to be fair, they're definitely in the lead. I think they've done a really good job of expanding to more markets. They were, last I read, 48 markets as opposed to Xbox One's 13.
So,
and so it makes a lot of sense that they would, focus on meeting demand in those markets, and it's worked. They're way ahead of Xbox One in total cumulative sales.
So I don't look. I'm reading the article here on Joystick. I'm trying to get a fucking number, but so this article tells you that in the U.S., the Xbox One was number one, selling 908,000, and the Xbox 360 was number three, selling 643,000. But they don't tell you how many units the PS4 sold in America. They only say that
PS4 declined to specify.
But isn't that in the NPD report?
No.
Oh.
No, they the individual manufacturers can choose whether to disclose the information or not to.
Oh.
And Sony actually chose not to disclose. So did Nintendo, actually.
Interesting. I thought the 3DS is on here though.
Yeah, I think it was for their Wii U numbers.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
So yeah,
because they're so low.
yeah. Right now, Nintendo take any win it can get. Oh yeah, we sell a lot of 3DSs.
Even those
not as many as they expected to.
Yeah, I think they expected 18 million 3DSs and they sold 15 million.
Yeah, they revised their estimate for the year down to 13.5 million. Which, here's the thing though, is it was a record year for sales for 3DS. It was the number one selling console in both the US and the UK. They sold millions and millions of units of Pokemon, and you can imagine that they sold a lot of 3DSs along with those. What were they expecting Pokemon to do? Because they were clearly hinging those estimates on Pokemon as their biggest driver by far. What did they think that game was going to do that it didn't? I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good case of really unrealistic expectations. I mean, if you can be sad that you sold 13 million units, then maybe someone needs to get a different job in their predictions department.
Right, like this was our best year ever.
Oh. Could have been better.
You blame it on Luigi. Wasn't this supposed to be the year of Luigi?
Yeah, Luigi's bummed, man.
Dr. Luigi is doing just fine, though. Don't look it up. Still don't look it up.
Don't Google image search that. Remember, Ryan's warned you before. Those of you who didn't listen,
I love
Don't do
warning
it.
people about that because you can guarantee that people will go do it.
Did either of you?
I'm about to check Twitter right now to see
did
how
either of
many
you
of them
play
just said, "Oh,
Gone
God."
Home?
I didn't
I
much.
I was actually I think like editing at the time, so I caught it being played, and I eavesdropped on some of the diary entries or whatever the fuck they were on the journey of sexual discovery.
I ask because there's this trailer that someone made called for fake DLC called Gun Home, where they just basically put some Wolfenstein assets over it, made it seem like now you've got a gun, and they turned it into an action game.
I love this though. That's pretty funny.
Which was really fucking funny. It was on the Dorkly website, which is really, really funny.
A big fan.
I think to really fully appreciate it, it helps to have played through Gone Home and experienced it, which it's a very different game.
Speaking of mods, even if it's fake mods, I heard, and I think it's been changed a little bit since then, that Fallout, someone is working on a multiplayer co-op mod for Fallout 3. It's apparently it's still in early stages, which, considering how long ago Fallout 3 came out, is a little bit I don't know. I hope they started recently, but that it's they've got an early framework going for it. Can you imagine playing Fallout 3 with a buddy?
Or can you imagine how bummed he's going to be when Fallout 4 gets announced with co-op? It's like, oh, what's the point? Did you see that it was announced that No Man's Sky is not going to be delayed by that flood?
Man, that is ambitious.
They said it's super ambitious. I mean, they were saying that the way he said it sounded like he wasn't sure if they had lost any. He was saying, if we've made progress, we'll make it up. They were saying, we'll work on a boat if we have to, anything like that. I guess they're working out of a super, incredibly cramped space. It's probably, it's going to be smaller than the Achievement Hunter office.
Which is
Because
small,
there's-
let me tell you.
He called it a makeshift post-apocalyptic set of workstations.
That sounds like our
gives you
office.
any frame
his,
of reference.
yeah.
Yeah, his office.
Yeah, and they've got they're all super cramped in. They've got some people working from home because they just don't have the space to support all of that. And they think it's going to be a few months. They're either going to find a new office space or repair the flooded one.
I would vote
don't
against. Do not go back
Don't
to the
go back
flooded
there.
one.
Just
No, come
let
on.
it go.
Black mold is great for creativity. It gets in your brain a little. You see things a little differently. That's really ambitious. And man, I hope they can pull it off because I'm really interested in that game. But I think I would rather, and I bet this is not fiscally an option for them, but I think I would rather them take their time and get it right than deliver us a game that is not as good because it's kind of soggy.
Yeah, kind of soggy. It'll make Gavin gag if he sees it.
Ew.
So I'm really excited. Adam Barrett has just started playing Last of Us, and he's for the first time, and he's really excited about it. And he's playing through it right now, and it's making me want to replay it again ahead of the DLC, because the DLC is coming out in 3 weeks, I think, on February 14th.
Valentine's Day, right?
On Valentine's Day.
This is like you coming to me with all the Game of Thrones stuff, being like, I just got to this part. Oh my God, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, I should read that again.
Yeah, so February 14th, Last of Us single-player DLC finally coming out. When did that game come out? That game came out last
June.
April. Oh, was it June?
I think it was June.
Yeah, it got pushed. It was...
Yeah, if you recall, you guys talked about nothing else on the patch for several weeks.
Let's talk about it some more. We talked about it quite a bit last week also. Great game. And the DICE Awards agrees. So I guess we were kind of talking about DLC, or we're on a DLC streak here. Did you see the Saints Row 4 DLC that came out on Steam with the cavemen? It was the Stone Age DLC.
What? No.
I think I missed that one.
They added it. I don't know. It says they added it on Steam.
Oh my
But it's
God.
got a caveman car and a caveman with a club and a cave woman with a club.
I really,
And
really...
the Flintstones car.
I can't tell you how much I hope that your feet hang on the bottom of that and speed pedal as you drive it. That would be the best
It's
thing.
$2.99 DLC. I mean, they really don't care. They will make any DLC for that game.
I don't think Volition gives a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they just... That game is so ridiculous that they're in an amazing position where they can do whatever the fuck they want. And nobody is going to be like, oh, that doesn't seem to fit in that game.
That's over the top. Nah. After the
It's
dildo
really not.
launcher, you're pretty much...
There is nothing that's out of place.
Yeah, you play the superhero president fighting aliens? Yeah, you can fit anything in there.
Pretty much.
Yeah. There's a new show on Comedy Central that's running promos, and it's really distracting me because in the promo that they run, the music that plays in the background of that promo is the default dubstep gun song from Saints Row 4. So anytime I hear it, I'll look up and be like, what? Oh, That's weird.
Is that a little bit like the was it the Frozen mobile game that's using the same music for there was the intro for the Gauntlet?
Yeah.
Oh,
And someone took the trailer from the Frozen. They took the Frozen trailer and then they dubbed over the Joel version over it, and it's brilliant. I highly recommend looking it up. I don't have a link, but look it up.
It's out there, internet. You can find it.
So
we believe in you.
We're running low on time. There's a couple other things I want to hit real fast before we take off here.
Don't stop
Did
it.
you see during what was it? There was that charity thing the other week, the Awesome Games Done Quickly.
Yeah, the speedrunning event.
Yeah, where the speedrunners showed an exploit in Super Mario World that allowed you to execute arbitrary code.
I love it. It's
So,
crazy.
This guy
Wow.
did this crazy combination of jumping on shells and hitting stuff all at the same time, and it dropped him down to a place where he could code using the SNES controller, and he had coded a menu, and he had coded snakes and Pong into Super Mario World. So he does this exploit. It launches his menu for his launcher, then he picks Pong and starts playing Pong, and then switches to snakes and starts playing snakes.
I want to know how he found that.
That's fucking crazy.
I mean, that's really impressive.
So if he was a rock star, panties would just be raining on his controller at that
Right,
point.
but-
Yeah, and the way he debuted it too, he waited till the stream when he had an audience and just pulled it out of nowhere. It's that's fucking awesome.
Suck it, Game Genie. Where are you now?
So the other thing I wanted to mention is we had talked about this previously. Joe Staten, who had previously worked at Bungie on Destiny and Halo for a long time, he had left Bungie back in September. I guess he's resurfaced. He's working at Microsoft now as a senior creative director.
There's a
over there.
there's a lot of new changes. There was the World of Warcraft systems designer as well.
That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Ghost Crawler works at Riot now.
Yeah, he's gone to Riot, and it's funny because they just put out a new update that makes a bunch of changes to the League of Legends systems. And I'm wondering because he apparently started there in December, but only recently updated his LinkedIn, which is how people found out about it. How much of what's in that newest system update or the newest update for League of Legends is his work?
From what I understand, that new update's supposed to make it easier for new players stepping in to get started with the game.
Yeah, I guess they're introducing a cast essentially of 10 static champions that you can play for the first couple of levels, and that are supposed to be ones that are easier to learn and easier to play as as a beginner. And then after you get used to it, then they switch you over to the normal free-to-play version.
Yeah.
League of Legends, man. That
Having
game
never
is,
played it myself, I don't know.
It's second highest grossing free-to-play game right now?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. It's it's crazy to me that as huge as it was second.
One last thing I want to mention before we go is Shroud of the Avatar finally crossed $3 million in their crowdfunding endeavor. They announced their kickoff here on this set a year ago in March. So very excited to them.
Woohoo! Good job, Shroud of the Avatar.
Crossing 3 million.
Patch alumni.
And yeah. So anyway, we got to go. We're at time. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back Monday with another episode of RT Podcast, and next Wednesday with another episode of The Patch.
Woohoo!
See you then.